Good morning, everyone. It's Robert from On My Turntable. Hope you're having a great morning this morning. It's a Sunday morning. It's a classic coffee kind of morning. I wanted to do a follow-up with what Rob Walker put out on the vinyl community. I love Rob. Great channel. Super knowledgeable. So easygoing. Great guy. Um, who's your favorite? And it's basically 20 pairs of artists you choose. So pitting 20 pairs of artists against each other and choosing wasn't that easy. And right up front, I don't have a few of the artists that he um, had listed, as he was also missing a couple, but I've made my choices on those artists. But for the most part, I have everything on the list. So before I get into it, please hit the like and subscribe button below. Thank you to all that have liked and subscribed so far. I greatly appreciate it. I want to continue to put great content out there to be informative and to show you guys some great bands and artists that I have in my collection. So of course, the most famous pairing, and this has been around for years, basically since the two bands got together. The Stones or Beatles. I happen to have pretty much everything as far as studio albums go uh, with the Beatles. You know, Revolver, Abbey Road, Yellow Submarine, Let It Be, sorry for the glare, Please Please Me, with the Beatles, Hard Day's Night, Rubber Soul, Magical Mystery Tour, um, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Help. I've got the soundtrack for the film 8 Days a Week. I've got Abbey Road. I've got Beatles for Sale. And the White Album. So pretty much all their discography. I'm missing, of course, their greatest hits and some bootlegs and all that other stuff. But as far as studio albums, I've got quite a few. As far as the Stones, I've got two of their albums and a compilation. So I've got Goat's Head Soup and Sticky Fingers and a compilation of Made in the Shade. So, I mean, I love both bands. The Stones are just way overplayed on the radio. I don't listen to the radio much anymore. And I've never seen them in concert, but I would imagine that they play the same songs over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So for originality, for the love of um, the the Beatles, I definitely have to go with the Beatles. Um, and the Stone, yeah, that's a hard one, Rob. That's a hard one. But definitely the Beatles. I mean, as a group, they could not be matched. And without the Beatles, there wouldn't be all this other great music out there, in my opinion. The Who versus the Kinks. So as far as the Kinks go, I've got are the Village Green Preservation Society, and Schoolboys in Disguise, sorry, in Disgrace, and Sleepwalker. For the Who, and this is one of my favorite albums by the Who. Who's Next? compilation of Beanie Beanie Big and Bouncy. Tommy, and a newer release. This is Endless Wire. Not big on this one. So another hard choice, but again, overplayed. The Who's overplayed. Kinks maybe as well, but I just find the Kinks more old school rock and roll. Just their attitude and their singing and playing. And again, tomorrow I could love the Who, but I'm gonna go with the Kinks on this one. The Byrds versus the Doors. This one was fairly easy. So I have their greatest hits, the Byrds, greatest hits. That's pretty much all I have for the Byrds. But as far as the Doors, again, 6 of their studio albums. So Morrison Hotel, self-titled, Doors, Waiting for the Sun, LA Woman, The Soft Parade, and Strange Days. Very prevalent to what's happening this time. But I'm going to go with the Doors. I love the Doors. I think they're just a great band, unique. But nothing against the Byrds. Again, these are all hard choices. And as I said, tomorrow could be a different day. But for today, it's going to be the Doors. Next is Peter Gabriel versus Kate Bush. And ironically, Kate Bush played on one of my favorite songs by Peter Gabriel, Don't Give Up. Super inspirational song. So, speaking of So, I have So by Peter Gabriel in vinyl, as well as remastered CD. And Kate Bush, have Hounds of Love. Another hard one. But I'm going to go with Peter Gabriel. I mean, Kate Bush is amazing and very, very similar, despite being male and female, very, very similar in style and uniqueness and amazing talent. But I'm going to go with Peter Gabriel on this one. Next, I don't have. The next is Marvin Gaye versus Stevie Wonder. And I'm going to go with Stevie Wonder on this, based on his longevity, his unique abilities. Nothing against Marvin Gaye. Again, Rob, he made this so hard. But I'm going to go with Stevie Wonder on this one. Hit after hit after hit. And again, Marvin Gaye was taken too early. I wasn't very familiar with Marvin Gaye's work, but I am with Stevie. Next is U2 versus Echo and the Bunnymen. So I've got quite a few U2. I've got the Unforgettable Fire, amazing album. Uptown Baby. War. Rattle and Hum. And Joshua Tree. Echo and the Bunnymen, I just have the one. It's a great album. This is Ocean Rain. Another hard choice. Um, U2, I kind of fell away from U2. All the old stuff is great, and I love every album, and every once in a while I'll throw them on. But I'm going to go with maybe the underdog on this one. I'm going to go with Echo and the Bunnyman. Just recently obtained that album, and it's great, great stuff. It's refreshing. So I'm going to go with that one, Echo and the Bunnyman. Number 7 was hard. It's Wings versus ELO. I love them both. I'm not a I don't have any solo Paul McCartney, but I got a fair amount of Wings, and so I've got Venus and Mars, awesome album. London Town, my favorite, Wings Over America, like 6 sides of greatness. Band on the Run. And as far as ELO, again, super hard choice, Rob. I've got New World Records, Time, Discovery, Out of the Blue, another amazing album. It's kind of Wings Over America style, just amazing stuff. And finally, this is Secret Messages. Almost forgot the title of that one. So, with Jeff Lynne being so involved with a lot of the Beatles and wanting to be one himself, and I know you can't give a tie, but if I could, I'd definitely make this one a tie because I love both bands. I think those albums that I've just shown you are some of their best, and but I have to go with ELO. As much as I love the Beatles, as much as I love Paul McCartney, ELO's music is just a feel-good type of music. It's airy, it's refreshing, it's just really so good, and I never tire of it. Um, where some of the Wings you hear over and over and over again, and you kind of don't really want to hear them again. So I'm going to go with ELO on this one. Again, hard one. Thanks for hard choice. Next, I don't have the Joy Division versus the Smiths. I was listening to a little bit of that this morning. Very, very similar bands, in my opinion. I'm going to go with Joy Division, just from the little bit I've heard. Next, again, don't have Iggy Pop versus Lou Reed. I'm going to go with Iggy Pop, just because of the rawness of his music. I know Lou Reed is out there. I know a lot of people love both artists. I'm just not, from what I've heard, I'm not a fan. Next, I have a bunch of one of the artists. I don't have any of the other artists. Was kind of a one-sided victory. It's Van Morrison versus Elton John. So with Elton, I've got Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Whoa. Oh, oy, oy, oy. Almost dropped the album. How did that happen? I put it in wrong. That's why. There we go. Empty Sky. Tumbleweed Connection. Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, one of my favorites. And I thought I had another one here. It must be still in the pile. Um, so definitely Elton John on this one. Um, just his work, his um, Van Morrison again, awesome, awesome artist. I just don't have any of his stuff. Same with the next two, but it's going to be a cake wash on this one. Bob Dylan versus Neil Young. I've never liked Bob Dylan whatsoever. I love Neil Young. I think he's amazing. Canadian icon, Canadian ambassador that made it big and internationally. So yeah, I got to go with Neil Young. Next is Blondie versus the Pretenders. I only have one Blondie. Great album though. Just picked it up yesterday, ironically. This is Eat to the Beat. Great album. But I've got to go with the Pretenders. And I had another album, but I just picked this one. I have their self-titled album, but this is Learning to Crawl. But I'm gonna go with the Pretenders on this one. Just straight ahead rock and roll stuff. Blondie, amazing. Don't get me wrong, awesome artist. David Bowie versus Prince. I only have a couple of Bowie, but I'm gonna go with David Bowie on this one. I've got Hours. Sorry for the glare. Hours. And Ziggy Stardust. I'll go with Bowie on that one. Blur versus Oasis. I'm going to go with Blur because I can't stand Oasis. Sorry, I apologize to everyone, but I just don't like their attitude. Don't like their snubness. They just have this. They're very put offish, in my opinion. They wanted to be like the Beatles. They'll never be like the Beatles. But enough said. Next, another hard one. Pink Floyd versus Led Zeppelin. I have Zeppelin 3, Zeppelin 4, Zeppelin 2, and compilation Led Zeppelin. But with Floyd, enough said on that one. Animals, Division Bell, Wish You Were Here, The Wall, The Wall Live. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pink Floyd. Have been my favorites for forever. When I first heard Dark Side of the Moon, I was hooked, and yeah, I'm gonna go with them. Bruce Springsteen versus Tom Petty. Only have a couple of Tom Petty's. Just have a compilation album, and that's enough. And I have Wildflowers. When I say enough, because again, it's another case of just super overplayed. Springsteen is amazing. I'm gonna have to go with Springsteen, even though I don't have any of his stuff. He's just an ambassador to the world on just his beliefs and his strengths and his convictions. So I'm going to go with Springsteen. God love Tom Petty, amazing artist. I love the documentary that they had on Netflix for a while. It was like three and a half hours long, basically start to finish. amazing artist. Again, these are hard choices, Rob. um, this next two I definitely want to get, but I don't have either one. The Jam versus XTC. Uh, I'm going to go with XTC on this one because I think, from what I've heard of them, they're amazing. So yeah, I'm going to go with the XTC. Next, Paul Simon versus Joni Mitchell. Great comparison. The only Paul Simon I have is Graceland, an amazing artist, still in the rap. And Canadian icon Joni Mitchell, I've got Count and Spark. And I always have a hard time pronouncing this. This is Hajira. Beautiful Joni Mitchell. And this is The Hissing of Summer Lawns. And just the fact that she's Canadian, I'm going to go with Joni Mitchell. I love both artists. I think they're amazing. But Joni Mitchell has been around forever, and and again, another ambassador of Canada. Fleetwood Mac versus Queen. Just have the one Fleetwood Mac. I know they've had basically two lives. The bluesy Fleetwood Mac, which I want to get into. I don't have any of it, but that's definitely on my radar. And of course, Rumors and Beyond. You know, one of the most commercially successful albums ever. Can't take anything away from that. But I'm going to go with Queen. Night at the Opera. Sheer Heart Attack. Day at the Races. Jazz. The Game. And I think that's it. And we're at the end. Elvis Costello versus the Police. Again, I love both. I have Spike up on the wall. I don't know if you can see that. There's Spike up on the wall. Elvis Costello Spike. And I have Blue. Very cool albums in both. And the Police, this is a dual album. It's got Regatta de Blanc and Ghost in the Machine all in one. And sorry, get back in there, get back in there. And Outlandish d'Amour, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correct. Outlandish d'Amour. They never made their titles easy. Another version of Regatta de Blanc. Zenyatta Mandata. And finally, Synchronicity. So I'm going to go with the Police, simply because of the discography that I have. Although I love Elvis Costello. Again, Rob, you made it so difficult, but it was great and fun to find everything, to think about who you would choose. They're all great artists, and one's not better than the other. But anyway, thank you so much, Rob. Thank you so much, Vinyl Community. Have yourself a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye now.